Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
What's the matter? You hurt?
How's it going?
Also joining us is that one guy we let on our show sometimes, that retro code, Eddie V.
Oh, Ubisoft.
And also, the pride of Tower Casuals, the lore daddy, Josh Finney.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like Bife as the lore daddy. Okay, I'm simply the lore hound.
You know, I'm trying to respect the fact that you've been called the Demon Sour Cream for so long. I'm trying to come up with something new, and then you poo-poo all over that one too.
There's somebody with 200,000 Twitter followers who has that name.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is now the new lore daddy, the bee feeder.
Oh,
or
no.
bite feeder.
No,
the bite feeder. The bite feeder. That's what I meant to say, is the bite feeder. He eats bife.
Wow.
Oh, man. Everybody, we've all just had a long week. I don't even know what to say to that. But anyways, real quick, we're going to throw up the X because it's Arsenal X, and we're going to throw down. Very kind of conversational, laid-back episode today. We've got the Ubisoft Forward. Is that what they called it? Happened today. Very uneventful, I would say.
Lackluster.
Was not.
It was more present than forward, I would say.
Yeah. So we also want to talk a couple things about some things that Phil Spencer said. Good things, but still just some things that he's been saying about Xbox and things that are happening in that realm. And some more rumors are pointing more towards Microsoft pursuing the WB Games acquisition. So we might talk a little bit about that as well. But in case you were wondering, this is the Xbox podcast here at Boss Rush Games. You can find it live every Sunday night here on twitch.tv/BossRushGamesLive or on our website and podcast services on Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review, and let us know how we're doing. You can write us questions at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com if you feel the need to interact with the show or join us live in the chat. That'd be awesome.
Which you should do.
Yeah, you should do, because we are hyping up live shows, doing it live. That's how they say it, right? Is that still a thing? I don't know. I really don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but anyways, you can check all of our content out on bossrushgames.com. And we're going to kind of start out with some things we've been playing. Josh, we're going to start with you, because I feel like ours is pretty similar.
I mean, I could just give the boring answer and go to Destiny, which is true. Played a lot of Destiny, but I've actually been digging 2 indie games a whole lot on Xbox. One was given away with Games with Gold last month, and one is currently on Game Pass.
Please tell me you're talking about Crosscode.
I'm not talking about Crosscode. I have not downloaded Crosscode yet.
It's very good.
I am talking about a little indie ditty by the name of Coffee Talk. Ooh. And let me tell you, it's very much, these are both very much just click through them games, but the writing is really good in both and really engaging. One of those where your choices actually do affect the outcomes of the characters. Coffee Talk in particular has some of my favorite writing, I think, of the year. It's so easy and conversational. I mean, you're literally making little 3-step coffee recipes for these people while they're talking about their lives. You're giving input on them. You see the relationship between a daughter and her father. She's 18 and wants to do her own thing. He wants to manage her music career. A couple that's fracturing because of pressure from both sides of parents. A relationship between a vampire and a werewolf Yes, these are all mystical creatures, by the way. There's elves and all sorts of different kinds. There's an alien at one point that shows up, who is one of my favorite characters, I think, in the game, Neil. It's just a really sweet, heartfelt game. If you manage to grab it on Games with Gold, I definitely recommend playing it. You can make latte art in it. I'm really bad at it, so it doesn't look good at all. It's just milk dumped on top, and the character's like, "Oh my god, this is fantastic!" And no, it's not. It's terrible. If I got that, I'd just walk out of the coffee shop. And then my second game I've been playing is it was from the Guerrilla Collective Showcase actually last month. Night Call. A really kind of funky little noir style game that you play as a cabbie who was attacked and assaulted. You pick up about 2-3 months after that, and you're roped in by a police officer to help find the killer. And you're given 7 nights to do it. 5 possible suspects, and you got to whittle it down while still keeping your job. So you're intertwined in the lives of all these other people while also chauffeuring around your suspects and trying not to raise suspicion. And there's three different cases, I believe. So probably about 3 hours per playthrough is what it was taking me. I spent a solid 9-10 hours with that. Felt like I still didn't get all the stories. That one's definitely a bit more tedious to get through. You can't just skip through the dialogue on other gameplay.
Okay.
So you're like, it's good. It's still good, but definitely Coffee Talk is better. It was on Games with Gold. If you didn't get it, it's like $10-15. Definitely recommend.
Yeah, I got Night Call on Switch. That was one of the indie games that they showed like earlier last year. And I knew it was coming to Xbox because I think they showed it first at the E3.
Yeah, it came to PC last year, and then it hit Xbox Game Pass and Switch on the same day this year.
Okay. See, I didn't know it was coming to Game Pass. I just knew that it was coming to Xbox. But when I seen it coming to Switch, I'm like, I'm gonna get it there.
Yeah, that was my intent, and I just happened to see it on my dashboard one day. Look at what's new on Game Pass. I'm like, yes, I'll save $15-20.
Yeah, and I've noticed that, like, I gotta start like paying more attention to that, because they just like to stealth drop stuff on there, and a lot of times it's some good stuff. Have you played After Party at all?
That's what I'm playing through right now, actually.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, you talking about like good writing, that I still need to finish that game, but that game has some really good writing in it too.
It's stupid good. I really like After Party. It's been a while since a game made me laugh that hard.
Yeah, you haven't played Murder by Numbers, then.
I have not. You would be absolutely correct.
You need to play. If you ever get a chance to play that on Switch, you talking about some good writing, man. That is it's like number one right now for a game of the year for me. Like the writing is so good, really good.
High praise from Ed over here.
It's because it's on Switch.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say it's because it's a Switch game.
Yeah.
The Switch bias adds like a point and a half.
More like 4 points. I'm just messing with you. I'm just kidding. You know I love Switch just as much as you.
All right, so what have y'all been playing?
Yeah,
that's about it for me and the usual Destiny. If you want to hear me talk about Destiny, come listen to Tower Casuals.
Yeah, because we actually have a lot to talk about on that show tomorrow. So, Jesse, what are you playing? Anything interesting, fun, new?
No, other than I talked about what I've been playing mostly on Boss Rush. This has been a busy weekend, but I did play some Amplitude and Frequency on my PS2.
Wow.
But yeah, that's about.
How's that hold up?
Good, actually. I mean, honestly, like Frequency and Amplitude are probably the most basic of basic games. Yeah. And the music quality is good enough, for a TV. So honestly, there's not too much in that to be outdated. I mean, because it's so basic. Yeah. So honestly, that's why it's like I could just easily go back to that whenever I want and play it, and not really. And and like I've looked into like they came out with the new Amplitude or whatever for PS4, I believe it was, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But the thing is like I mean, not that I wouldn't like it, but there's like all the bands and stuff on it. It's nowhere near like like what those first two were, like Frequency and I mean, you had like Fear Factory and like and like just all these crazy people, and David Bowie and I don't know, like there's just a whole bunch of like just famous, like famous musicians that just basically got techno remixes of popular songs or songs of theirs. So it's hard to compete with that, because I don't feel like they really went as heavy in the new one with trying to get like decent, like bands that anyone would know of, So
which is kind of crazy when you look at what they did with Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
Yeah.
You think they'd have a better selection.
Yeah. And I haven't really looked into it much after it came out. I really only had seen the early stages, so maybe they added stuff at some point, but I don't really know. It's something that if it's backwards compatible on PS5, I'd definitely probably still end up getting it, just because that is one of my favorite games. Like literally, I used to play those damn games like for hours and hours and hours straight. Like me and like all my friends and stuff that I hung out with.
I have a 360 still for Rock Band, so
yeah. I used to have all that stuff too, but yeah. So that's basically all I've been playing, honestly, other than like solitaire occasionally too on my phone.
Nice. Well, I've been playing Disney Emoji Blitz on my phone, so I know how that boring phone games are. So just to kill time. So Jesse's cat is
she's doing her death whine.
Ed, what do you?
I was just gonna say, it's like on my end. I don't know about yours, but it's always just me and you at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Like because
they've inserted some like fake players, I feel like, into my leaderboard to like make you try harder, and I'm like, yeah. Look, I enjoyed those 10,000. Yeah. Look, I enjoy those 10,000 coins every week, but if you're gonna insert fake players, I'm not trying that hard. Look, I'll just do my free spins and go close the app. So
well, and get this. So like I played it for a while, like like hours and hours a day, for a while there, and like every time I would get it would take forever to get an unlock. Mm-hmm. Like unlock a character, the character would always be one I already had.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a crappy review for the game.
I wrote one too.
And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, every single time now that I've I got a new emoji, they've all been different.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even play the game anymore. I literally have like 40 lives that I haven't used because I just keep doing the free spins and just hoping I get the 1,500 coins, and I'm like, well, guess I'll wait my 4 hours to do 4 more free spins after I watch these crappy ads for other mobile games. So, but is that all you've been playing, Jesse? Then,
yeah.
Ed, how's Okami going for you? Doing all right over there?
Okami is going super good. I am 30%. That I got left to do before I beat it, so I will be hitting my July 22 goal on Mixer, fixing that game. But I also play Mega Man 2. I'm almost done with that. I was streaming it. It's still a fun game. Not talking about it, but playing that game, man. Still, I don't know, the directional pad on Xbox is not fit for old school NES style games. It's just not. It's great for modern games with the analog control, but the directional pad on the Xbox controller, I give me that good old Pro Controller or anything Nintendo related. I just, yeah, yeah. But I once I get done with Okami, I am going to jump back into Rise of Tomb Raider, because like I love playing that game on survival. It's so much fun. I think I'm at the halfway point, because I just got to the town, that was hidden away from everybody. So, I got there, so I need to pick it up and work on that. I do have Coffee Talk, but I didn't start it. I did get it with Games with Gold, but I just haven't started it back up yet. And there was another game that I picked up. There were some games that I did pick up. Journey to the Savage Planet. I think that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I played a little bit of that, and I put it to the side because I had got into our book club stuff. But I am going to give it a try. Play more of it. It's kind of cool. It's a little bit laid back. I don't know. I understand the Metroid stuff, but I don't see everything else yet, and I probably haven't got to that part yet since I was like still in the beginning of things with that game.
We played that for one of our Game Pass game things, and me and Corey were really enjoying it and wanted to go back to it again sometime. So maybe that could be a game if you own it. Maybe one day
I own it. I brought it.
There's a weekend that like you're off or something, and we got time to do it. We can maybe try to play that as a group because we didn't get too far in it. So.
Okay, I'm thinking of holding off of Black Flag of Assassin's Creed, and I'm thinking of jumping into Dead Rising 3, because I know I said I would do Dead Space, but I had Dead Rising 3 for so long, and I'm trying to get some of the first launch games that came to the Xbox One. I'm trying to get them out and off my system. So I think once I get finished with Tomb Raider, Rise of Tomb Raider, I think I will start Dead Rising 3, and then probably jump into Dead Rising 4, because like Black Flag is good, but I'm just lost. The direction stuff, like they're not telling me how to get somewhere, and that's one of the problems with Ubisoft and even Grand Theft Auto. Sometimes it's like you know where you need to go, you pinpoint it, and no, Borderlands has this problem. You pinpoint it, and then you try to get there, and it's these hills and valleys, and you can't get around them. So you figuring out how the heck do I get to this place? It's showing me where it's at. I need to get there, but all of this stuff is blocking it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much what I've been playing. In a certain game for PlayStation, but I talked about that on Boss Rush, and so I got 3 more days for that, and then it's review time for that, because 2 special games are coming Friday, and I cannot wait. Yes.
Nice. Well, just to keep it short, I have been playing a lot of Crosscode, which is a cool new action RPG in the 16-bit style. It is very fun. It's very cool. It's very stylish. The writing's very good. It is on Game Pass. I've been playing it on Switch, though, so because I didn't know it was on Game Pass and I wanted it, so whoops. That's on me, I guess. But I supported a developer, so that's all right. What else have I been playing? I've been playing... what else have I been playing besides Destiny? I played a little bit of NBA 2K this weekend, because I don't know, I felt like, hey, why not? Let's just shoot some hoops, and I played one game, and I was like, I'm good. So, but the rest of it's just been Destiny. But I'll talk about that tomorrow. I raided for the first time in about a year and a half, so that was fun. But anyways, we're gonna get into some of this news here. The Ubisoft Forward event happened today. I just kind of want to talk a little bit about what was shown and what wasn't shown. I think the big thing that was obviously leaked ahead of time was Far Cry 6 coming in February, and then they gave release dates to Watch Dogs Legion and Assassin's Creed, which I'm very excited for. But that also gives us kind of a window on maybe when these new consoles are coming. So, but what did you guys think of the Ubisoft Forward event?
It was okay. It really, they had a really cool, Watch Dogs Legion just had a really cool intro. It was a short movie, animated by like I think a French director did it. So like everybody, if you haven't seen it, do check that out. Everything else, a lot of people did not care for hyperspace. A lot of people were just like, okay, we're done with the battle arena style games. Can we give it a rest? Like, I'm a battle royale. I say a lot of people just did not care, and I know it's
hyperspace.
Hyperscape. I'm sorry. The beta, the beta that's now on PC. A lot of people just
I don't
did
know.
not care.
I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of people playing it and enjoying it, but
I think
it looks cool to me. I like the whole concept of kind of taking something similar to like Apex, but almost it's like almost a mixture between Apex and Warzone, where you've got like these big like tall buildings and stuff like that, and it's more like like there's more stuff that you can kind of go around, whereas with Apex, there's a lot of open area that's just too easy to get picked off running through the open, whereas with this, like, you can move super fast and you can jump all over, and like building like the wall thing to stop people from getting you or whatever, and
hacks.
Like there's a lot of cool things I think that they're doing in it, but I don't know.
A lot of people on Twitter was just like, we've had enough of this. This is no one is inventing the wheel, and what they show, it was like a story mode, so it looked like there's a campaign and there's a purpose, but a lot of people just didn't really care. Rainbow Six Siege, when they showed that, it was really congratulating on 5 years. They got like 60 million players now.
Mm-hmm.
Brawlhalla coming to iOS and Android. There's going to be crossplay, I guess. One of the weird things was that they didn't announce anything for Nintendo Switch. And I know this is a Microsoft podcast, but they're breaking it up into 2. So I guess we're going to get everything else. Like, I think we're going to get Gods and Monsters and Beyond Good in 2, and whatever Ubisoft have planned. But it was very weird. It was just like very ho-hum about it.
But the thing is too to remember is Nintendo hasn't really done like a massive like E3 style show yet. So if there's certain things that they're doing that Nintendo wants to control the messaging. Have control of the messaging.
They didn't control the messaging when they did Mario and Rabbids. They didn't control that. They let Ubisoft literally announce that themselves. What was weird was just everything that they showed people knew about. Even with Far Cry 6 was the leak and stuff. Mm-hmm. They seen a little bit of Valhalla, Assassin's Creed, but then there were parts that says a work in progress, not the final product. So it was just like they're still working on things, and people were just like, they thought that there was going to be new announcements for games, and there weren't. So a lot of people just felt like this was it was safe, but it was quite a letdown. And a lot of people, and I think if they would have did this as a live presentation, I think people would have just straight up hated, or be disappointed.
They did say they're going to have another one, right?
Yes, they did announce. Yeah, and so it feels like the second one is going to be all the new unannounced stuff and some updates and everything. I just seen on Twitter that everything was already pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So they couldn't talk about the not sexual abuse, those problems that Ubisoft have been reporting and stuff. So they were just like,
they could have. They easily could have, but. Yeah.
I think they could have, but I think everything was already done.
I mean, I'm saying that they could have because when Bungie did the Beyond Light reveal back at the beginning of June, they made it pretty clear in the footage that they had pre-recorded that in about mid-May, and they still found time to spend the first 9 minutes of their show addressing Black Lives Matter. So you can definitely do this. There is nothing wrong with Yves sitting down for 3 minutes and giving a statement to tack on at the beginning or at the end.
I wonder when Destiny did theirs for the 9 minutes, was that like live? I don't know if that was live or they recorded that.
They recorded it.
Oh, they recorded. Okay.
So it was a lot of statistics on police brutality, ways to help, things like that. But it was clearly it was infographics you had to clearly design in a program and put in there. So that is still better than nothing. And sure, they had a little bit more time, but when this is something that, this is a story that's been reported on for about 3.5 weeks now, and it hit its boiling point yesterday, you're one of the 3 probably biggest third-party companies in the world. You have to address that. You have thousands of people whose work is getting shown. You owe it to them to address this in a public manner.
I wonder if they were still doing some investigations or something.
Even saying we're investigating it would have been better than complete silence.
Right. I'm not saying.
I mean, you don't have to accuse anybody to address the situation. You can just say, "Look, there's been things happening within our company. We're totally investigating it, but this, and this, we do not stand for. We do not." You could address it without accusing
especially
anybody.
When Yves' number 2 is one of the ones who was completely implicated and is now gone from the company. I think you have to address that in a public manner and not just through a cruddy PR statement.
I think and not saying that they could address it. I just think that they probably thought that this is already set and ready to go, and we don't want to do no extra. We don't want to do no extra work. So let's just make this
a couple days.
I'm just saying.
This happened.
Let's see. This is what Ubisoft is.
Let's see.
Their reasoning.
Let's see. This has been the allegations and stuff have been going on for what, a week and a half? You're telling me you can get somebody a PR guy to write something in 2 hours and have one of the
their
executives.
HR department threatened to quit apparently if the CEO didn't publicly back them.
Yeah. And that's why
it's a whole mess over there.
It's not like us where we have to sit here for a couple of days to edit something. They have thousands of people to do that for them. I don't think it's okay that they didn't acknowledge it. So
I think because like I said, I just seen them post something, and I guess they posted this thing 10 hours ago, before the show. I'm just Ubisoft. They just randomly came up on my Twitter page, seeing it. So like I said, I don't know if they're still investigating. I don't know what decision that they made. I think they should have put that in. They should have put that at least in the front, because they're probably going to address it at the second one. I think when everything boils down,
they can't wait that long. It's too late.
No,
it's already too late.
It's already
too late. They've already shown something. It's too late.
Right. At this point in time, Ubisoft is probably thinking of something different. Meaning that they don't care if they're late or not. They may feel like they want to get all the facts or get. Like I said, they may still be investigating stuff.
Well, that's what I was saying, though. You don't have to accuse anybody to say that you don't stand for something, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure none of when Bungie did the Black Lives Matter thing, they didn't investigate or accuse anybody of being a racist or anything, but it was still the right thing to do, right? It's just you have to at least acknowledge it. So,
and I know Ubisoft has a lot of companies, so I wonder if there's just, developers around the world. So I wonder if a lot of stuff happened around the world, and there's still people that they're trying to get out. I'm just saying this is probably what Ubisoft was thinking. Not saying that they shouldn't said something, because the head of the company, he should have came out and said something, made that statement. You are ahead of this, and you know all of this all of this stuff, accusations that's going on. Yeah, he really should have said something, but maybe he felt like it wasn't a time to say it. I don't know. But because a lot A lot of people just like if they're not supporting Ubisoft anymore. A lot of people literally dropped them. They were like they're not going to be.
They
buying
say
their
that, but
game.
wait till Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs comes out. I mean, they say that with all these things every year. And look at Blizzard, right? With all that China stuff that happened a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guess what? New cool Blizzard game out. We're gonna buy it.
And that
the thing.
So.
The thing is, though, like, this is the thing, and this is why I hate corporations. Is okay. So if you stop buying a game, who is that hurting? It's hurting the people who are possibly victims, and the people who are putting in hard work to make these games. They're the only ones getting punished.
But they don't. Sometimes they don't see it that way. They see it that if you don't buy it, we'll have someone else buy it. So we got a substitute for you. We don't have that substitute in you. We just have someone substituting for you. And as long as we get that sale, that's all that matters to them.
Well, I know, but I'm saying not
I
buying a game isn't going to do anything.
Yeah,
like
I know.
it's not going to do anything. That's why, because I want to buy the game to support the people who are possibly victims, who are just doing nothing but trying to make a game, because unfortunately they're the ones who get hurt by this, because the corporations that own them are use them as a shield. Like, I mean, if people don't buy a game, well, then we get rid of the studio. We get rid of you because your games aren't doing well.
And
that's the thing. Is it's a stupid situation.
It's
unfortunately,
really,
and all, the more important thing, in my opinion, is to do like what people have been doing with the Black Lives Matter and stuff, and just trying like pushing the people at the top, and and to doing something, like you could, because not buying a game, I don't really think that's gonna do anything. Like, you can be outspoken, and do, like, try to do things other ways, or like support things that look into these kinds of situations, and deal with it. That's the thing. It's just a really difficult situation. There's never an easy solution to these kind of things. And unfortunately, I don't think just not buying a game is going to make any difference, because there's too much of a possibility of the people who are innocent being hurt by that more than the actual business that's releasing the game.
It's really kind of like fans versus being overlooked, which is going to, if the fans make their decision on not to buy something because of these accusations, they won't buy it and stuff. But if there are people who will overlook all of this stuff because it's one of their favorite series, they'll go and get it. Just look at Borderlands. We already know the crazy mess with what's his name, but everybody overlooked all of that and bought Borderlands 3.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is just something that we shouldn't even have to be having these kind of conversations about, honestly. Like,
if people weren't shitty people, we wouldn't have to have these conversations. I mean, like, to be honest, like, not just the Ubisoft stuff, but everything that we've been talking about this week on all of our shows, I'm just, like, really tired of having this conversation, because people are shitty people, and I just don't want to, like, I mean, I told you this, Ed, the other day. I'm like, remember when we just used to come on here and talk about games, and it was like, not serious. So, I don't know. I'm really tired of shitty people, and I just don't know how to, like, really. I don't really know how to not have this conversation anymore, because we have to have this conversation.
I think it's just like, if you're going to purchase any of their games, it's going to be up to you if you're going to keep this stuff in your mind, and that's going to stop your purchase, or you want to be able to play with your friends and overlook all of that and just get the game. If you're excited for what Ubisoft is giving you, go ahead and buy it. If you got the money and the time, I should say.
Yeah.
Or you're going to wait for a sale. You are the consumer, and even though Jesse, I know you don't like that kind of theory, supporting it with your money or not. But I'm like, if you want to play their games, that door is open for you to walk through and go buy their games. You're not forced to do anything, but it's going to be up to you.
Yeah. And also, if someone wants to buy a game, that's not them saying that they're okay with what's going on either. Like that's you've. Yeah, but go ahead, Josh. I said enough, really, but
no. I just want to say, I preached for a long time, and I've done it a few times on Boss Rush's shows too. I'm a very big believer of vote with your wallet. If there's something that you don't agree with, everybody has a line, and I'm not going to sit here and shame somebody for going and buying a Ubisoft game after this. I don't really care. Like, I'm personally looking forward to playing Valhalla eventually. But I have my own separate philosophy within that comes down to Ubisoft games, which is never buy them at full price. I wait about 3 weeks and they're half off. But I think it's kind of a moral conundrum that you get into when you see situations like this. Like, I'm not, obviously I'm not defending any of this. I do think that the Ubisoft situation is different than the Blizzard one that we brought up earlier. Like, that is one that, enough people will be impacted by that one globally. Like, they're seeing the human rights abuses going on in Hong Kong, and like I do genuinely believe like people are going to go, no, I'm not. I'm not buying. I'm not supporting Blizzard. Like I'm one of those. Like right now, I don't want to. I'm sure my tune is going to change the second that Diablo 4 comes out, but. Right now it's easy. It's always easy to talk when there's not a product that you want. Like it's really easy for me to sit down right now and go, I'm not going to buy a Ubisoft game. They're going to show me, they're going to show me Gods and Monsters in like 3 weeks, and I'm going to be like, well, hell yeah, I'm in. Let's do it, Ubisoft. Like I want this game.
I think with the Blizzard thing, I think more people were mad at the actions that Blizzard took.
Well, and they should. I mean, that is
right.
Is egregious. Like you should absolutely be upset. Like that's an example of not wanting to upset an investor. Tencent is owned by the Chinese media or owned by the Chinese government. They're a big investor in Blizzard and especially in Epic. They're 40% owners in Epic. Like they can actually control the business strategy of that company. And that's when you start getting in all sorts of really weird legal areas. And you have to decide for yourself. And I won't say that saying, "Oh, I'm not going to buy from a certain company," doesn't do anything because, as we've seen with any movement, enough people do it, you start hurting that bottom line. Like a giant conglomerate like Ubisoft, none of those studios are going to be in danger of closing, except for maybe their mobile ones. Like that's about it. Like none of the ones that do Ghost Recon or The Division, like, Massive's not going to close anytime soon. Watch Dogs is a studio and closing down. Ubisoft Montreal and Toronto and the other 15 of them that work on the Assassin's Creed franchise aren't closing down. It is what it is ultimately. Like just to kind of put a bow on it, I guess that's my thought on that. If Corey, if you don't mind me steering it back into the direct presentation for just a second.
No, I was actually going to transition into that now.
It was not good. That's my take on it. It was not good. I'm pretty sure we all laughed at the EA presentation earlier this summer, and we were like, "There's no way it can get worse." This was not.
Ubisoft said, "Hold my beer."
EA was.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, EA wasn't bad. I think.
It was bad.
I think it was better what they have been doing in previous years.
I hard disagree.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
What I'm saying, as in previous years, there was just something to. They didn't do all that marketing talk like they have been done in a lot of their EA things. Like last year, what we did with EA, we saw Star Wars and we dropped off and we dipped off from that. The year before, I think they did the Anthem one. We were mad at Command & Conquer. We were happy to see Unravel 2 and some of Anthem, but then when Anthem came out, it had their problems. But we were excited about some of the stuff that they showed. We still didn't care about none of the sports or anything. I think this one, it wasn't up to snuff for other things, but I think it was just a little bit better than their past presentations. It's just what I'm saying.
with Ubisoft this year, I think Ubisoft made the correct decision to focus on two core titles that bookended their presentation in Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed. They threw some mobile game filler in the middle. It's really bizarre to me that they're doing two presentations, that they're going to do another Ubisoft Connect or Direct or Forward or whatever terminology they're using that's not trademarked. Whatever they're going to do later on in the year, I assume that's where we're going to see Gods and Monsters if it still exists. Same with Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like, I've just given up all hope on that game existing. But it's baffling to me that you do this and you bookend it with two games that you're like, oh yeah, these are massive open world experiences that are both going to come out at the end of October and in the middle of November. That's the latest an Assassin's Creed game has launched in, God, maybe since the original one. They traditionally come out the first or second week of October. So I think, honestly, the biggest news of this might be we've pretty much pinpointed when Series X is coming out. It's coming out the week of the 17th because you've got Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk both coming that week. This is launching 2 days before Cyberpunk 2077. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck
with
that.
Good luck, Ubisoft. I will almost guarantee you that one of those two games is getting delayed. If I was a betting man, it's
Cyberpunk is getting delayed.
I wasn't even talking about Cyberpunk. I mean about Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed. One of those is getting punted this spring.
Neither. They'll come out on time.
You know what? We thought this last year, and then Ubisoft literally took their whole E3 slate last year and punted it. Gods and Monsters was supposed to come out in January of this year.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs was supposed to be a fall game last year.
But because of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, that changed everything.
Yeah.
Those Recon Breakpoints sucked.
And that changed everything.
But that's
some may say it was broken.
Those before Ghost Recon.
Right, and all of that stuff got delayed. And it could... Guys, I don't think Gods and Monsters would have sold as much because you didn't show us anything. You showed a trailer for announcement, but there was past months they didn't show no kind of gameplay. So how did you show just a trailer and didn't release a game like that?
Because they're Ubisoft and they do this on the regular.
Yeah, remember Watch Dogs 1?
Yeah, Watch Dogs 1. I mean, we didn't see anything of Rainbow Six Quarantine, which shocked me. That was being pegged as a fall title. Didn't see anything of that. All we got was a cinematic trailer for Far Cry. Like, if I'm a betting man, Far Cry is getting punted because you just showed a cinematic trailer and that's it. And you plan to launch this in February.
And they just put out the pictures for it, gameplay pictures.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just seen it.
Anyways, the long and short of it, this was a bad presentation, but it wasn't. It was a step up from EA, and I think it's solely because they did show us a pretty good chunk of Watch Dogs during the presentation. And if you watched the post show, they showed a lot of Assassin's Creed. We got probably about 45 minutes of Assassin's Creed.
They did 30 minutes.
It definitely sold me on it a little bit more because watching that footage, I was just going, oh no, this is Odyssey with a Viking overlay, and that's not what I want. Bit more.
That's like exactly what I want. Is Odyssey with a Viking.
I only want that if you're going to give me more Cassandra. If you're not going to give me Cassandra, make a completely different game. Don't even give me something related to Odyssey.
Well, you have that female protagonist, right? It's there. You can switch genders on the fly or whatever, right?
Sure. Vikings also just don't interest me, frankly. Like, that is the farthest thing I think of when I think of an Assassin's Creed title. Aside from the American Revolution, it's like kind of the weirdest time, I think, to set an assassination game.
Don't worry, you're getting another Assassin's Creed game in about a week called Ghost of Tsushima. Set in feudal.
Anyway, so yeah, to wrap up the Ubisoft talk, not bad, not great. It was slightly less than mediocre.
Yeah, that's why I say it was okay for them.
It was fine considering everything going on. It was fine, like with COVID-19. But the fact that you punted your whole slate a year and this is all we got was a 40-minute show where you couldn't even show us everything that you're working on. This basically was a reprise of last year's E3 with the addition of... It
felt like a waste.
Yeah, I feel like I wasted my time and I could have just caught the Twitter highlights because the only thing that matters is that Far Cry is shipping with a replica flamethrower if you buy the collector's edition, and a dog that has wheels for its back feet.
But the thing about it is, how do you fix Ubisoft? Like,
I don't.
we are. I mean, we're not.
It's the same question we ask about EA every year. Like they're going to ensure, instead of hunkering down in sports, they hunker down in Ghost Recon, in The Division, in Watch Dogs, in Assassin's Creed, like Far Cry. Those 5, like I'm shocked that we didn't get more Tom Clancy during this.
Here's how you fix Ubisoft. You turn about the 10% of people who are like us and are having this conversation regularly into the 90%. But that's not going to happen because a lot of people just don't care about games the way we do, and they'll buy it anyway. And they don't know that these are the conversations that we're having, and they're going to buy Assassin's Creed when it comes out, or Watch Dogs, or the next Tom Clancy game, or whatever. Right? Like that's just
right. Because there's Far Cry 6, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion. Those 3 are 3 open world games, and it just seems like every time they do a presentation, it's an open world game.
Don't forget about the patches that they're making to Ghost Recon. That I'm sure there's going to be a Division expansion coming out soon, and the crew too. Apparently, they're trying to fix, right. Like I'm talking about like their open world stuff. Like it's.
I mean, so I had really bad flashbacks to my time with other Ubisoft games watching this presentation because Far Cry, I don't play a lot of Far Cry. The story kind of interests me, but just the gameplay never really has, which is ironic because I like a lot of FPSs. After Far Cry 3, I just kind of tapered off with the franchise. But you look at some of these games and like Watch Dogs Legion, the exact characters are moving and the combat they're doing is exactly The Division 2. It's embarrassing how close that is. Like how they loot things is almost exactly the same. Like copied animations, copied movements. It's just so weird.
That happened with the Division, the first Division, and the Wild one with Ghost Recon.
That at least makes sense. Those are set within the same shared universe. Those are set within the same overarching franchise. You're not taking the movement of the Division and putting it into Assassin's Creed, which is just ridiculous, or into Watch Dogs. Like Watch Dogs looked more like an FPS than it did what Watch Dogs we know is. Like I don't know. I think something's got to change with the way they approach these games, because sure, they're selling now, but eventually there is going to hit a point where they did it with the Assassin's Creed games. People are going to say, we're done buying these.
I think Ubisoft needs to make a level-based game. I think that would be probably a highlight for them. Because everything they're doing is open world. If it's not open world, it's a Tom Clancy game. If it's not Tom Clancy, it's Just Dance or some mobile thing. And like they haven't expanded from anything.
I mean, listen, I'm honestly thrilled that they're doing Just Dance, because that at least gives them some diversity in the portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like you see some of their more original games, and you're like, why don't I get more like this? Like Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle was awesome. It was XCOM Mario, like that. That was great.
And I think they need more stuff like that.
You need stuff like that. You need stuff like Starlink was genuinely good. Like yes. I will die on the hill that Starlink is the best Star Fox game of the last 20 years.
Yep.
But
all right, Corey.
What?
No, I was calling Josh Corey because you said the same thing.
I did. It is.
I don't know, like just diversify the portfolio a bit. But,
I think that's what they need. They need a diverse portfolio. That's why I feel like they need a game that's just straight level based, 12 levels, show an ending, and that's it.
Yeah. Well. But I mean, is there anything anybody was like excited for by this presentation? I mean, like besides the fact that we thought the presentation was boring.
Yeah, my excitement for anything had happened because of the leak, but like because I'm the opposite. Like I really like the Far Cry games are really the only ones that I care about probably the most out of everything that they do. That as far as their flagship stuff, just because 5 was by far probably my favorite of game of theirs in general that I've ever played. But I mean, I liked the Division too, but I still like Far Cry. It was just so weird, and just I loved the protagonist that you were going against, and just the whole like cult kind of thing about it was entertaining. So, but yeah, like I my only problem though with this new Far Cry is it's like as long as they've improved upon the mechanics and stuff, or even if they're at least similar to what they were in 5, I'd be fine with that. But part of it gives me kind of like flashbacks of 4, and I trying to go back to 4 after playing 5, like the mechanics were just so much more clumsy and it just was not that good. Trying to go back after playing 5, because it's like you can see where they were trying to improve upon things and they weren't quite there yet, but then we got it in 5. So yeah, I don't really know like how I feel quite yet about it. Like I mean I'm excited because there's hope that it's decent like 5 was, but again, I don't, I won't quite know yet. It's still kind of early, but
yeah,
I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I was hoping we would get a Far Cry 6, that could potentially be something I enjoy playing. But that's about it for me, honestly. Like, well, and like I did enjoy, getting more of Assassin's Creed, because like I'm not really a fan of the Assassin's Creed games too much, but I'm kind of the opposite of Josh, where like this is like one thing that I actually have like the setting I have interest in, but yeah, I don't know.
So, like, I mean that's completely fair. Like that's just personal preference.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just like any game ultimately. Like, like I don't know. I used to just be obsessed with like, like Elder Scrolls stuff and all that, and like, but I've just kind of dropped off with that. My my interests have changed a little bit since then. So like a lot of the Knights stuff and all that, I just don't get into anymore. Because like back in the day, I would have loved Dark Souls, I'm sure, but now it's just not, But yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to. I thought it looked good, like what they've shown of Assassin's Creed. So I was glad, that we got a good chunk of that. Honestly, they could have, like in my opinion, you guys talked about them, planning on doing another one. What they should have did is just do what Nintendo does, have a treehouse type thing where you just talk about Assassin's Creed, and then maybe tease like one thing, or something like that, and say that like you're going to be having another show later where we're going to go over what else we have to look forward to.
I think that was their post show.
Better.
Yeah, I think that was their idea when they did that post show.
Yeah. But I think they should have honestly just did that and then just waited with everything else until they actually had something legitimate to really go over and put on a decent show. I think the thing like that we're kind of forgetting sometimes maybe with all this is these people may know how to make games and stuff like that and blah blah blah, but like maybe they just really are not good at like planning a recorded like show together, and so they're just really bad at that part of like
they're not professionals like us.
Yeah.
And what was wrong with Phil Spencer?
They need a Corey on their team.
Phil Spencer looked tired, or something was in his eye. I'm like, this don't look right.
He was stoned.
He was high or something.
He's probably
because he kept squinting his eyes throughout the whole thing. I'm like, this is not the Phil Spencer that we know. So,
well, his eyes are usually pretty squinty. So
Speaking of Phil Spencer, we're gonna dive into this other topic of the show. So last week he talked a little bit about the WB Montreal or WB games stuff where they're looking to be sold or whatever. Microsoft's hat is apparently in the ring. So Phil Spencer said two things that were really interesting, and I feel like maybe we could kind of combine these into one topic. He was he did an interview where he was talking about the cross-gen exclusivity approach, and where the big quote coming out of there is gaming is bigger than any one device, where he was talking about it kind of goes everything against what he thinks gaming should be, where if Jesse, you have an Xbox One and I'm playing on PC and Josh is playing on Series X and Ed's playing on a phone, like we can all still play together because of the way that Xbox is approaching xCloud and cross-gen gaming and stuff. So how do you feel about that? How he's kind of defending that? Do you agree with him? I mean, I think some people are not really agreeing with him, which I think is kind of sad, but also we kind of, when PlayStation did that big reveal, they kind of made a point to say we are building games from the ground up for PlayStation 5. We pretty much won't be supporting the PlayStation 4 after the PlayStation 5 comes out. So what do you guys think about this?
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize that Microsoft is a hardware and software company, first of all. And they have a lot of their software everywhere. Phones, tablets, computers, the Xbox console. So wherever they could get their product out, their software out, that's where they're going to get it out at for everybody to play. And wherever you feel like that you could get a hold of it by paying some service or outright buying the game, if they could offer more, they know that they could get more people to up some money to get their product and stuff. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a smart thing for Microsoft because they're expanding different ways to play, and if you could get more people to play that and there's a profit coming from it, why not do it? Why not take advantage of it and everything? So I think Microsoft is as a business, they're thinking of ways on how to get stuff out and how to receive something back from that, compared to what Sony is doing. Like, a lot of people who buy Sony products, are you just buying a PlayStation? Because like Sony owns Columbia, they have they do movies, they have hardware with like their headphones and sound systems and TVs, and everybody is acting like Sony doesn't have other ways of making money versus of playing games. But Sony has other products out that can make them money, and those products are not really doing it. So you can't be mad at Microsoft for taking advantage of what they want to do with their software to get it out to have people play their games and receive some money for their business.
I think when it comes down to Microsoft and their strategy going into this generation, like, they're in a very unique position. Like, we've never really seen a company in this sort of position. I mean, sure, going from 360 to Xbox One, we had cross-generational games and whatnot. We've never seen a company try to do the whole full upgrade thing before. And I think they're able to do that because of how much our consoles are connected to the internet now. But also, like, Microsoft has pushed this narrative for a few years now, really since like 2017, I would guess, which is when they really started bringing their games to PC, their Xbox exclusives. And that was kind of the first cog in starting to right the ship, right? Was, okay, we're going to get our games. The Xbox One is obviously not going to sell as well as the PS4. It's not a failure by any means, but it's not reaching those historic levels. Like, it's not even reaching what we did with the 360. We got to do something. We have games that we want people to play. So I don't think it's wrong to have your game on multiple systems, and especially what I think a lot of people aren't taking into consideration is if the xCloud technology is as good as it's being touted. And I mean, I've done the iOS beta for the Master Chief Collection. If that game can run on my iPhone, they can definitely be helping support these future games on your Xbox One console. I do think you're eventually going to hit a wall, and I think it's going to be a pretty startling wall for any title that is not a Microsoft Game Studios title, because these new companies are going to be developing for the future consoles. I mean, the Valhalla gameplay that we saw today, for example, looked kind of choppy, and that's presumably running on a PC or on a next-gen console. If it looks like that now, even though it's still in dev, how on earth is it looking on a dev kit for PS4 and Xbox One? Like, you have to start taking that into consideration, and this is the most consumer-friendly thing I think I've ever seen. Like, if Microsoft had led this generation, I'd almost guarantee you we wouldn't see this philosophy, this approach. They'd be like, no, y'all can go buy a new box. I don't think we would have seen it at all.
Yeah, that was my next question. Do you think them being behind severely is why their approach is the way it is? Or do you think
100%.
Okay.
100%. I don't doubt that Phil Spencer is a genuine guy, but at the end of the day, his goal is to sell services, games, and consoles. And I think that a quote that he gave to GamesIndustry.biz this week really struck a chord with me when he says, we view Game Pass, it was either him or Matt Booty, it was one of the two, we view Game Pass as a separate platform, just like we do the Series X or the Xbox One or Windows PCs. And he goes, you have to be able to develop games for your platform. So kind of emphasizing that all these studios they've acquired aren't all going to be making AAA, like, giant narrative experiences a la God of War or Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us. Like, it's like that's not our goal with every game. Like, we have some games that we want to do that. We know by all accounts that's what the initiative was founded to do, was to be their answer to Sony, Santa Monica, and Naughty Dog. But you have to look at other things that they do right, like the emphasis that they put on play with your friends, with Halo, Gears, the Forza franchise. Like, those games keep going on forever. One, because we keep buying them. Two, for the most part, they've been pretty good consistently. And three, I mean, you can play with your friends. Like, I would rather play a game with my friends than always play a single player game. Like, I love having my Xbox for those multiplayer experiences. I think that's a lot of what we're seeing. The approach here is they don't want to separate those generations. Like, they want to still try and be loyal to the fan base that really bought into the Xbox One, no matter when they did, and be like, okay, your purchase wasn't in vain. We know there really weren't any games from 2017 to 2019 that were exclusive that were good. Like, Gears 4 and Gears 5 were kind of the bookends to the dark years of the Xbox One's release cycle. Ironically.
But that plays on what people were reviewing Microsoft as versus what they're reviewing PlayStation. Because the thing about it is, like, it's one of those Nintendo Wii U things where it's just like, oh, Nintendo makes kids stuff, they don't make no games. But then they get those games on Switch and they play them. Sorry, bring up Nintendo, $10 in the bucket for the show. People start realizing that, oh, I can't believe this game is so good because I missed it on the Wii U. And it's not because you didn't want the platform. You had a viewpoint of what Nintendo was making on their console. When everybody's saying that something was good and really great on it, you just had a person had a viewpoint of it because they was playing on 360 or PS3 and other generations. And so Quantum Break and Sunset Overdrive, those games, I feel like they got robbed because
Sunset Overdrive is one of the finest exclusives on any platform on this generation. Fight me 1v1 in the Crucible,
and they got robbed because of what people thought about it. I'm just like, how can you not like Insomniac on a Microsoft platform, but like Insomniac on the Sony platform?
It's one of those things, like, Microsoft still 7 years later, like, you can see it anytime you go into a Twitter thread, you'll still see it. They still have the view that they had in 2013 with the Xbox One reveal, and that's why, like, I don't think I'm being ridiculous here when I say that the July 23rd event is probably the most singular important day in the history of the Xbox platform.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, because I mean, even on top of that, like, this is the most important Halo reveal ever. Also, I mean, I just think this is a huge day for Xbox, because you can say, oh well, we have Game Pass, our box is cheaper, you can play cross-gen, all these things, but if you don't deliver if you don't deliver the experience people are expecting in terms of games, like. you're not going to succeed. You have to have a combination of the thing of all of
And
it.
Corey, we discussed this on Pop Block, where I'm just like, Microsoft needs something important. They need that
Yeah.
one important game, and they need that.
And when we did talk about that on Pal Block, which is broken out, pod clips I think are coming back, so it's been broken out, that conversation. But like, just the fact that we were talking about how Game Pass sometimes might diminish how great a game is because it is available on Game Pass day one. Like, we were talking about Gears 5 and how awesome that game was, but we were talking about how it didn't sell very well because it was on Game Pass. I mean, it sold 2 or 3 million copies, but like, they were measuring engagement and how many people were playing it, and they were gauging the success on that and the microtransactions within the game, or the seasonal packs or whatever they were calling them at the time, you know what I mean, and not the sales numbers. And I mean, I don't know how big of a problem that is. I don't think it's a problem now, but if you're looking long term, and I mean right now Game Pass has how many users did they say Game Pass had? Like 15
10 million. We crossed
million?
the 10 million mark in May.
And I think, Jesse, when we was talking about Game Pass, and that's why I say I don't think Game Pass is a bad service. It's that, yes, you are getting indie games, and yes, you are getting Microsoft's first party stuff, but you're not getting some of the latest third party that everybody wants to play on that system. The third party that you're getting
all the third parties
older,
are making their own system now.
Yeah, the absurd amount that Microsoft would have to pay to get a brand new third-party exclusive on there would be so astronomical. They could buy a studio or two or completely fund their own AAA experience. Like, I don't think that's what they're out to do anymore. I really think that you're going to see less and less big third-party games like Metro Exodus or like Witcher 3 or something like, or you'll see them come years down the road. Like, I remember us all being shocked in January, like, oh my God, Grand Theft Auto 5 is on Game Pass. Like, the second best-selling game of all time behind Minecraft is on Game Pass. And then they replaced that with Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, those are huge. There's still people buying those in droves every month.
Yeah. And they're making their money off of Game Pass because you got to think about it. No one is playing no one's really playing Gears 5 or talking about it, but Gears 5, just because it's on Game Pass, that's money for Microsoft.
Gears 5, and I mean, like, when we say, oh, it only sold 3 million copies, there are so many games out there, like AAA games, that would kill to sell 3 million copies. There are games there are developers who would dance in the street if they crossed that 1 million mark. And I think that's part of Microsoft's strategy going into this is Series X. The analogy I've been using for it is it's what the Steam box should have been. It's housing the Xbox as a software platform. Like, our friend Ray Apollo and I have been saying, we've been literally tooting this word since 2015 when we first started hearing about xCloud being demoed at Gamescom behind closed doors, that this is going to become a service like Steam as opposed to just a box. Like, the Xbox happens to be even the physical box. Congratulations. If you want to play on that box, go for it. If you want to play on your tablet, you can do that. If you want to play on your laptop, go for it. Like, they just added adaptive controller and pro controller support to the Apple TV of all things. Like,
well, Xbox has become more of a brand instead of like you said.
And I just wanted to touch on that for a moment because we had kind of talked about that, and I didn't get a chance to really say it, but we were talking about people who get upset about the idea of you not having to buy an Xbox in order to play games, that you'll be able to play games other places. Okay, like, the thing is like, now where people are just so used to it, I think that it's not at the top of their mind. But that would be like saying, okay, well, you have these lights over here that can be controlled by Alexa, and you have this smoke alarm that's controlled by Alexa, and you've got this that's controlled by Alexa. That's like saying, okay, well, only the Echo Dot can control this thing, but if you want to control that thing, you've got to get the bigger version of that. It's like, if Microsoft has software on all these different things, and they've got software that can work on all these different things, it's stupid to say, hey, your software should only be able to work on this one thing because that's what I think. you know, and the cat thinks something apparently too.
Well, and as I say, like whenever people make the argument of, well, why don't we have to buy an Xbox to play Xbox games? If you could play on PC, there's no reason for it. I like to call those card-carrying members of the Bad Faith Brigade just ridiculous, because they're making it to where, like, literally you can play anywhere. Like, they aren't understanding this because they've never seen a system like this. Like, I can't go buy The Last of Us Part 2 right now digitally and boot it up anywhere that I want to. Like, that is the eventual goal of where they want xCloud to be at. They want Game Pass to be able to be like that. Like, I want to be able to play my games wherever. I want to not buy 2 Series X's that much.
Unfortunately, a lot of times it's also people who want to complain about Xbox all the time and who have more fun complaining about Xbox than they do playing video games.
I mean,
because a lot of the times they'll be like
console warriors of any kind. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I see Nintendo and Microsoft fans doing that too. And it's so childish. Like, this is such a unique approach and a unique point in time where Microsoft is behind, and they're really leaning into incorporating their core businesses together. They're the only company in the world that can really make this work right now, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't a little afraid of them saying, for 12 to 24 months, we're going to put every game that's exclusive to Series X on Xbox One. At a certain point, I become afraid of, is the game going to be held back by that? That is a very real concern, I think.
I mean, Phil Spencer addressed that in this interview, too, right? Where that is something that people are worried about. And he said that, you know, it's not. It's going to be more like PC slider settings almost, where, like, you know,
exactly.
you're going to be able to, like Halo Infinite, you're going to, on Xbox Series X, you're going to be able to run it 60 frames or higher.
And that's why I'm not concerned when you start hearing about, like, well, I'm not concerned about hearing about the Lockhart system, hearing that, oh, the FPS for that, like, they'll still have the same CPU, but the frames per second are going to be capped at 60 on there, as opposed to being able to go all the way up to 120. Like, it's pretty much, it's like you just said, it's a slider. And I think hearing that kind of explanation from a studio head or from a department head really kind of puts it at ease. And even hearing their philosophy, like, that they're not going to sit here and force their studios to, like, you must make this run on everything. Like, if you just want to run on Series X and PC, go for it.
Well, apparently their dev kits are easy enough to actually make that happen, you know, because there is like
there's a Lockhart mode in them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, as crazy as it seems, I think Digital Foundry is going to be big next year with Series X and PlayStation 5. Like, they're going to be doing the comparisons, and unless you are really into tech stuff, a lot of that stuff don't matter to players.
Right.
You know, they're going to be like, I just want to play the game where I could play. And I think that's why it's smart of Microsoft to really get some of their first party or some of their indie games on Steam, on Windows 10, xCloud, wherever they could get their stuff at, because it's going to work for them. It's a great business deal for them. And that's all the thing that matters to them. Yeah, we know that we got everything out there for you guys to play. It's up to you if you want to play it. But this is a good business deal for us. When we don't recuperate at one place, we'll recoup it somewhere else.
Well, they're just ahead of everyone right now. Because, you know, like, a lot of the things they're doing, we're already seeing, like, you know, Stadia and stuff and things like that. But, like, you know, Sony has, you know, been making some changes in their, you know, PS Now and stuff.
They just made a big streaming patent this week too, or it was discovered or whatever. They didn't just file for it, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So I mean, you know, but the thing is Microsoft now has been working at this for a long time already. I mean, you know, Phil Spencer talked about playing the console streaming or whatever, I think it was console streaming that he was mentioned, but he had talked about playing it in, like, another country or something, like on the bus. Like, he said there was really bad internet or something like that, but you know, he, like, just said the fact that he could try it, and, you know, like, it wasn't even something that we knew about at that point. It was something that they were working on doing, and the world didn't know about yet at that time. But, like,
you know, like they've been doing a lot of this stuff for a while, and you know, and they've got so many great things to really back up a system like that, like Game Pass and all that, where you know, like boom, right off the bat, there's going to be a lot of games that you'll have access to, you know, and be able to play. And you know, unlike Stadia, you won't have to pay a monthly fee for Stadia or whatever, and then on top of that, buy the game, you know, so you can play it. Like, because if you're paying the cheap monthly service for Game Pass, boom, you've got a bunch of games already available, and that's to say that we, you know, who's to say, I should say, that we don't know that at some point part of Game Pass will be, you know, like all the games that are available on there, you'll be able to just stream play through the, you know, through the you know, the streaming version of that, of, you know, on playing on your phones or whatever. I'm blanking right now what it's called, but yeah, the you know, like they've got so much going on, and like it's almost funny, like, because you know, we've been paying attention because we play on Xbox, and you know, and you guys also have PlayStations as well, and Switches. We have, you know, like we're paying attention to everything, but there's so many people who just see Sony like way up high on this pedestal above everyone else, and they're just like unaware that Microsoft is just silently in the background doing a whole bunch of stuff, and it's just going to come, like, there's a potential that this show could that they have coming up soon could just potentially knock so many people right out. They just won't see it coming.
As long as Microsoft continues to have a diverse catalog of games, I think they're going to be good. And I think people just give that diversity a chance.
Yeah.
And if they
that's what Josh, you know, and like what Josh was saying, you know, I think we're going to get more passion projects and stuff from, you know, these smaller ideas where they get to try something new, you know.
Yeah.
So
we'll see, but I think we're going to wrap the show here. I know we all have some other things that we need to do tonight, so and I have to edit a bunch of stuff, to be honest with you. So we're gonna wrap it here. Josh, thanks for joining us. This was
anytime. Thank you for having me.
We're here every Sunday night, so you can just So, but
I may pop up the week of the Xbox showcase.
Yeah,
sounds good. Sounds good.
So yeah, Josh, thanks for joining us. This has been Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast. Remember, you can find us live here every Sunday night talking about Xbox and getting back to Game Pass games probably next week. So you can check us out playing those. Ed, thanks for joining us as well. I know you didn't have to work, so it's always fun to have you here, putting your money in the jar to talk about Nintendo. So, but Josh, where can we find you?
You can find me every Monday live at Korean HD on Twitch.tv on the Tower Casuals podcast, a Destiny show as part of Bosch Rush Games. And you guys can also find me on Twitter at @Josh_Finn. That's Finn with 2 N's. And follow me for random musings about games, Destiny lore, whatever movie I just watched on Hulu. Nice. All sorts of fun stuff.
Nice. Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at @ThatRetroCode. You can check out Ocean Opinion on SoundCloud, other podcast apps. And you can find me mostly here on Bosch Rush Games. And check out World 11 Podcast at World11Podcast@podbean.com.
Jesse?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
Yeah, and check out his SoundCloud.
Yeah, go check it out. If you stream
Destiny,
and you want some music to play while you're streaming, go ahead. It's free. I don't care. You have my okay.
Yeah, and if you want to hear what it sounds like first, you can watch me. I am Korean HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me at Korean HD on Twitch. You can also find me on various other podcasts here on Boss Rush Games, including Tower Casuals and Nintendo Pal Black, and of course, the Boss Rush podcast. Check out our 1v1s. Willow was our last one, and LeBron is going up this week, so check those out. Those are fun. It is getting its own feed this week, so make sure you find it on your podcast service of choice. And with that, we're going to throw up the X, because we are exiting out of this podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Yikes.
Bye, everybody.